Hi there, thanks for your interest in No Hands Massage. My name's Jerry Pives and I'm the creator and founder of No Hands Massage, a zero strain approach to massage that I first developed in 1988 due to injury to both my wrists. Now, for any industry on the planet to have an intrinsic built-in problem of injury and illness, all right, is a problem and bad news. But you know what? For the bodywork and massage profession, for there to be an intrinsic problem around injury and consequently health and wellness can only be considered a catastrophe. So this video shows me sharing my 7-stage model of massage injury. And this is vital information for every massage therapist and body worker to know about if you are to survive and thrive and grow as a body worker and as a massage therapist. After all, if you're injured, you can't treat any clients. No matter how much you've invested in learning techniques and grown your knowledge in the field, if you're injured, that's it. You can't see clients. That is why the issue of injury, I believe, is the single most important issue for every massage therapist to be well informed about and to be able to understand what to do to bring down and reduce those risks. I don't believe there is another subject more relevant to your career as a massage therapist. So this session is now going into the next thing that happened to me. Having solved my own problem, as I started to meet more and more therapists who were injured, I began to realize maybe this wasn't just my problem and the problem of a few people. And I looked around and there was no information that I could find about massage therapist injury. So I started to think about and do some research into the stages of injury. How could I have got injured was really the question. How could it be that something as wonderful as massage could be damaging? So I had a very gifted student who was a nurse practitioner, and this student went off and did some research and came up with these 7 stages, and it seemed a really good model. And then I did research for another couple of years into something like 40 different studies on musculoskeletal injury, research on it, and I found they backed up this model perfectly. All the research into injury tends to reinforce the 7 stages of the student. Okay, the student's name was Alison Adams, and she's still a massage therapist down in London, but she developed this model, and then I took it on and did the research behind it. Okay, so it was initially her idea, and I've worked it into a researched information. So the 7 stages of injury run like this. First of all, you've got the first 3 stages are what you might call the preparations of injury. Yeah. So the precondition of injury is, number 1, abnormal pressure. If you don't have abnormal pressure, you're not likely to get injured. Now, abnormal pressure doesn't mean lots of weight. It can mean a light movement done repeatedly. Yeah? So the classic example is the typists, who do a few ounces. When they did research into typist injury in the 1990s or 80s, they found that there was like a couple of ounces. They then multiplied how many times that couple of ounces got pressed during the day and found that your typical typist who was getting a lot of injuries was putting 20 tons of pressure through their hands and wrists. When you added up those ounces over the whole day, the total force going through that part of the body was 20 tons. Okay? Somewhere else I'm going to talk about if you add up what goes through one massage, the calculations circle round about 80 tons per hour. 80 tons, that's the weight of a Sherman tank. If you do the same calculations on a massage therapist, falling in with their weight or doing powerful work, we put a lot more pressure than a tap. And in 1 hour, with our weight going in for just half of the session, it adds up to about 80 tons. And that was important for me to understand, because I figured that if you let a Sherman tank drive over your wrists every time you saw a client, you wouldn't be surprised at being injured, would you? So suddenly injury began to make sense. Now, when you do this initially and you repeat certain movements and think of all the repetitive movements in massage, you don't get any signs of injury. Nothing's happening at this stage. You're just doing the same movement over and over again. But this is stressing the joints and the tendons and the muscles, okay? Then what happens is you get the second stage, which we call fatigue. And it's not fatigue for you, it's muscle fatigue. And muscle fatigue is a precondition to the later stages of injury. What actually happens in the fatigue stage is the elastin, the protein elastin in your muscles, which is stretchy, not surprisingly, it disintegrates. So you lose elasticity. So the same movement you're making, instead of the muscle expanding and contracting smoothly like elastic, all right, it's literally like a rubber band that loses its elasticity. Yeah? Now the same movement has nothing, bang. You think of what happens with an elastic band when it's lost its elasticity. You just go, there's no resistance, and then bang. Well, if that's happening with your muscles, every movement is now having bigger impact on the joint ends of the muscle. Yeah? Because the elasticity is gone. Yeah? Or going. And the third stage is what happens here, which is at micro level. You're getting micro injury. Micro tears of muscle, primarily. Within the muscle belly, micro tears, micro scars. The only way you can pick this up is if you were to have MRI scans of your muscle tissue. Top sports athletes do this, and this is where the research comes from. The precondition of the sports injuries is the unobservable micro tears. Okay? And the only sign in those three stages is your body desperately trying to repair these micro tears. Now, what sign might you as a practitioner, from what you know about the body and the immune system, what sign might you get as a practitioner if, with no pain, no indication of injury, invisible tiny microscars are being healed every night? Because that's when we know the immune system really clocks in. You do a day of massage, and during the night your body's repairing these abnormal injuries that you're not aware of. What might you notice the next day?
Stiffness in the morning.
Stiffness?
Muscle tremors.
Possibly muscle tremors?
I often say that you might feel like you haven't rested as well because your body's been doing so much energy.
Spot
work.
on, Rebecca. Spot on. The most common sign of injury of these early stages is exhaustion and immune system depletion. Because every night there's re-injury if you've been working the day. So your immune system is working full on to repair these injuries, making you actually more vulnerable to other things that your immune system would otherwise be doing. Flus, colds, and exhaustion. Most massage therapists do not associate depletion, exhaustion, flus and colds with their massage practice. And yet when I talk to massage therapists who have been working full time, and I ask them, in that, once you got busy, what happened to your health? And they almost universally say, I feel so tired. I get so many colds and flus. I get run down. Yeah? And can you imagine what this does to the confidence of a massage therapist who's building a practice, helping people to be healthy? And your next client turns up and you've got a streaming nose, you're feeling crap, and you're supposed to be this person that inspires them to be healthy. So without even knowing this is injury, large numbers of the massage profession are leaving the profession possibly because they just don't think they're up to it. They're not healthy enough, they can't hack it. They don't know it's got to do with injury. These are the invisible stages of injury. Now, although we're only just into the first 3 stages of massage injury, I hope you're already finding value in learning about this information, and I hope relevance to your own experience. Perhaps one of the greatest and most obvious signs of these first 3 stages that I actually failed to mention in that presentation is the sense of dread when your clients are about to come. You get up in the morning and you know you have your client list for that day, and there is a growing sense of dread. at the idea of seeing these clients. That's actually one of the ways that we respond when we're exhausted, when we're dealing with a reduced performance state. And that sense of anxiety or dread or negativity around the day ahead is probably one of the clearest signs that the early stages of injury may already be happening for you. Now, although this doesn't seem like a very happy story that I'm telling you, you might want to click onto another video that's at the bottom of this page about the development of No Hands. The early days. It tells the story of how I got injured and how No Hands started, and it starts to share with you the development of a very exciting new paradigm for the profession of massage and bodywork. And that's a much more kind of positive way. So if you're feeling a bit down from all this information about injury, it's very hard information this is. This is what you might call very tough love I'm giving you right now. I'm really pushing this information at you so you are aware of it for the rest of your life as a bodyworker. Please understand that I have dedicated my whole life to ensuring that every single massage therapist who wants to can learn my approach and work 100% zero strain. That is what I do. That is my life's purpose at the moment. Having gone through the trauma of massage injury myself, I don't want another single bodyworker or massage therapist to ever have to go through that. And the first step in becoming a zero strain bodyworker, the very first step, is to become well informed about the situation, about the reality, and about the options available to you. So I really look forward to reading any comments or questions that you have. You can just write them below the video here, and keep an eye out for the next video in which I'll be sharing stages 4 to 7 in this model and some of the implications for you of all of these 7 stages. Thanks for watching.